on the slide, we will understand the action we can actually take to be able to achieve that youth empowerment. It's about creating opportunities for education and skill acquisition, providing resources, fostering an environment that allows young people to thrive. What we can understand is that creating opportunity for people does not end the aspect of youth empowerment. You can create an opportunity, but one important aspect is to provide the resources. You can also provide the resources. It doesn't end there. You also have to create an environment where youth can strive. That is when the cycle of youth empowerment can be agreed that is complete. When there is an opportunity and there is resource and there is also an environment, that is the only time we have that cycle complete. Any part of it that is missing, then there is nothing, there is no youth empowerment. As leaders, we have a responsibility to invest in our youth, providing them with the tools and mentorship and support they need to succeed. It's a moral obligation to every leader, and it's important for both economic and social growth. The power of youth empowerment. Understanding the transformative power of youth empowerment. It is a process of enabling people to take control of their lives, make informed decisions, and contribute positively to the communities. The key thing you have to hear is to take control of your life. Take control of your life. If you are not in control, then there is a problem. Self-awareness. The element is that you must first of all be aware as a youth that you need empowerment. Today, when I was growing, I know age has come up with some of us. At a younger age, I wasn't very familiar with youth seeing empowerment as handouts, especially handouts from politicians. But this day, we can actually see youths believing that they are empowered when politicians give out something to them. Time has changed, but one thing I tell our youth is, if time changes negatively, you change the time so that it can be positive. You don't allow time to change. You also change the time. Another key element is identifying the niche, a niche or a vocation. As a youth, if you are self-aware, you definitely have to understand and identify what you are used to, what you can do. Then skill building and education, access to resources and supportive environment. I'm just emphasizing on what I had said in the past. Empowerment is not just about giving young people resources, also creating an environment for them to foster. Importance of youth empowerment. Economic benefits. Of course, the importance of the economic benefit of empowering youths increase productivity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. If you check, sometime last week, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria came here, and we drove with him to a center being controlled by Enugu SME, where they have a hub and young people learning fashion designing, cutting, and all that. That, if sustained, we can understand the kind of money and the economic benefit of that can bring to Enugu State, especially when we can move Enugu to be another hub where fabrics and clothing is known for. So you cannot de-emphasize the economic benefit of empowering the youths. Then social benefits. You are assured that empowering the youth reduces poverty, improve health, and social cohesion. Definitely when you empower, poverty is reduced. But even issue of health, some people's psyche, when things are hard, people don't tend to think very well. And it is even when people are unemployed or unempowered, or when they are idle, and you see a lot of people doing vices like drug abuse and all that. So youth empowerment definitely is going to improve the health of the youths. There are individual benefits like enhanced self-esteem, decision-making, and problem-solving skills. This is actually, I'm a testament of that. If a youth is empowered, the person's esteem, self-esteem is improved. You can be able to understand the reason to do better and continue to do well on your own. The fear of moving forward will be completely eliminated when a youth is empowered. You can now dare to improve. Then demography dividend, leveraging the energy and creativity of young people for national development. Catchy. Empowering young people is crucial for breaking the cycle of poverty, promoting social stability, and driving economic growth. Now, let's look at some of these elements in a more detailed form. Creating opportunities. How do we create opportunities for youth? One is education and skill acquisition. I was in the office of the Minister for Youths. Nobody will believe that we have about 761 skill acquisition centers built by the government in Nigeria. More than 20% is more than 80% are not functional. About 20% is functional. And this is one of the reasons why we are where we are today. Government will build structures and it is not being utilized. So education and skill, we need to make sure that we create more education and skill acquisition centers for this youth to be empowered. Not create and abandon, but create and start using them. Mentorship and coaching. Mentorship is a very critical part of human capital development. Mentorship, some people can venture into, and this is why we are happy with what we have today. Amadeo Center, Amadeo Hall of Fame that we have taken. I'm happy with what my uncle has developed in terms of mentoring people. I've seen several programs, and we encourage people, both politicians, businessmen in the private sector, to take mentorship and coaching very seriously. It is a very critical element of youth empowerment. Entrepreneurship and job creation. I can see a lot of people outside there who are doing their exhibitions. This is a critical part of youth empowerment. Letting people to go out there to do what they know how to do. As small as it is very important. Then leadership development and civic engagement. Most times this could come in the form of trainings and all forms of symposium, sending people out to do this. Also, some of the things I am very happy I do often to send people to be able to develop themselves. So we see a very important element is leadership development and civic engagement. You must create opportunity for young people to acquire valuable skill sets, assess resources, and develop their leadership potentials. This is very important. Then on providing of the resources. Resources is very key in the cycle of youth empowerment. Financial support like grants and loans and scholarships. One important thing the government has done today is this student's loan. Even though it's repayable, but it's interest free. Becoming a politician, a senator today, exposed me to understand that a whole lot of people don't go to school, not because they are not intelligent, not because they cannot pass the exam, but they don't have the resources to go to school. It is massive. You may not understand until you come to a particular position where people come and show you evidence that, look, I'm not going to school. You know, a young boy passed jam. For 4 years he was passing jam, but never got admission. He had admission letters, but he couldn't go into school because there was no money. This kind of loan that the federal government brought is a very key thing to ensure that those who don't have money goes to school. It's as bad as that. So let us encourage people, young people, to take advantage of those loans. Also grants. Grants are important in supporting people's dream. When we see such, we can't overlook it. Sometimes when we look at the federal government grants, we see that people from this side of the country don't benefit as much. And it's not just because they don't want it, but they don't ask for it. One of the things we're doing now is make sure that whatever is available at the center, let what our own should come to us. This is why we are there. But that's not the why we put it here. What we're saying is that grants and loans are a very critical part of youth empowerment. If you have somebody, if you train someone and the person does not have the resources to start what you have trained him to do, it is just going to be like dead. The work you have done is not achieved. Technology and digital tools, healthcare, well-being, safe space and infrastructure. Sometimes why our people don't grow is because there are no infrastructure to continue to themselves. Young people need access to resources that support their physical and emotional and mental well-being. Then we look at the environment for opportunities, inclusive and supportive communities, positive role models and mentors, collaborative and innovative spaces, policy framework and legislation. This is where we come in to make legislations and policies that create an enable environment for people to succeed. We must foster an environment and encourage creativity, innovation, and risk-taking among the young ones. This aspect, risk-taking, is key. One thing is that, and this is also what we solve by mentoring people, most of our young ones are not ready to take risks. One is because they don't even understand that for you to go into a business, there's an aspect of risk analysis that tells you earlier that these are the risks you are going to face into this business, so that you can start early to mitigate it before you get into that, before that risk will consume the business. So we can solve this by mentoring and educating them more. Doing so much of training, let our people know that there is risk, but risks, every business has risk. You cannot stay away from a business because there's a risk in it. You have to find a way to mitigate those risks. Let us look at examples of successful youth empowerment initiatives. In Enugu West, we have developed a yearly skill acquisition and training program. These are things we are doing. And also, it's not going to be fair for me not to mention that here in Amadeo, I have also sent people trained by Amadeo several times, and it is very encouraging. It's also an opportunity we all need to tap. We know about the global initiatives, UN Youth Strategy, Youth Action, and Global Youth Empowerment Fund. These are examples of youth empowerment initiatives that we can all latch into. And also the Enugu SME, the one that is very close to us, so that we transfer knowledge to the younger people to understand the importance of leadership. There's one also instance I needed to give us in terms of, I didn't emphasize it, in terms of people being self-aware of what they want to do or how they want to progress. I have a personal experience that I would like to share with the youth here. Sometimes in 2004, when I was still a young engineer, I had a boss who was a retired civil servant, and I report directly to him in the office. Because I was young, I always want to do things quick. I learned a whole lot of software because I'm a design engineer. But he doesn't design with software. He uses pen to calculate his money. So if you give me a design work to do, I can roll it out within a few hours. So far I know the parameters. But when you give him to check, Oma will check his work for 3 days. Something you design for 1 hour. It's not that he's not experienced, but he is obsolete in terms of knowledge. And I was like, I won't grow if I continue to work on that and allow one work to take me 3 months, 3 days to review. And because I wanted to avoid insubordination, I didn't want to go to the MD of the company and tell him that Oma is playing my work. I came early in the morning, one morning, and I walked up to him in the office. He comes early before morning prayer, and I said, sir, I want you to do me a favor. You know what I said? Please, I don't want to report to him. Move me to another department. Say why? I said, tell me. And the courage to tell him. And he has to go. 1 month later, open another department. 6 years after, it was to me. Evolution. Not all the fear you're known to hold you down. The youth needs to know that sometimes the people don't ever allow anybody to hold your potential. If, as you're looking up to leaders, you're looking up to the high, but sometimes speak out. It will be how you are going to break beyond the barriers. Some of the challenges we are having in empowering our youths, one will be generational differences, which is what I just said. Generational differences. What AI can do today, a whole lot of things cannot do it before. So these generational differences has even made it impossible for the older people to communicate effectively to the current new generation. How is going to be able to progress on this one. And it happens in every other aspect of training and human capital development. If people go on training and the resources to be able to start what they learn is not there, it means that it sometimes comes about wasted the resources for the ones you have achieved. Best practices for youth empowerment: listen actively, set clear expectations, provide regular feedback, encourage expectations and learning from failure, lead by example. These are the best practices in youth empowerment. Then real-world examples, we can agree. Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls has churned out thousands of girls who today are making waves across the world and are leaders that we are seeing. From now, it's no longer good to say that youths are leaders of tomorrow. These youths are leaders of today. If you give youths the enabling environment and the opportunity, they are not going to lead us tomorrow, they are going to lead us today. The president of Senegal is younger than me today, and he is supposed to be a youth. And he is not waiting to be 60 years like we have here in Nigeria to be a president. So if we give our people opportunity, they will grow. When I was going to run for this position some people said, why don't you go and try the lower one? I said, no, if I go and I don't make it, let's be like that. But when I came to the Senate, I saw very young people. There's a 37-year-old girl boy in the Senate today, and he's not underperforming. He's doing as well as any other person can do there. He's a youth, but he's taking his fate in his own hand. Another real-world example is the Bill Gates Foundation Empowerment Initiative. We all know how Bill Gates has empowered and helped empower people. Malala Yousafzai is educational, Barack Obama, and Amadeo is also a life experience. Please give him a hand of applause. Some of the key takeaways: we have to empower young people to take ownership. When you empower young people, the youth of today are not lazy. If you empower them, they will really take ownership and move forward. Then let us foster a culture of inclusivity and diversity, provide opportunities for growth and development, and lead with empathy and integrity and authenticity. This is very key. If a leader leads with integrity and authenticity, is going to impact very positively on the people you are leading. Let us look at the social implications of neglecting youth empowerment. Neglection, it has severe social implications. The first one is social unrest and instability. When we don't empower people, poverty is increased, crime is increased, social exclusion and marginalization, reduce social cohesion and community engagement. It is no doubt that if we have more youths in Enugu empowered to do one thing or the other, the number of people who are going to play sleep, I don't know what sleep, they play sleep during the weekend when they want to play football. Betting. The number of betting is ruining our people, and we do not know. I'm not trying to demarcate the business of betting, but the truth is, some youths only provide their time to do betting. But when they have skills, I think they will reduce the time they attach to sitting on Fridays to bet on live matches. And at the end, I haven't seen a millionaire here who made too much money from betting. Maybe you win 1 naira, tomorrow you lose 10 naira. It's not something I personally encourage. But the point I'm trying to say is that when we empower our youths, such things are reduced. Crime is reduced. Pickpockets are reduced. People who snatch phones. Young people now buy the most expensive phones, and people who are making genuine money. And when you have a young man who is making genuine money, he doesn't have time to come and snatch an old man's outdated iPhone 2 or iPhone 3. but he's using iPhone 16 already. So we have to reduce crime if we empower our people. Then there are severe economic consequences. Lost production and economic growth, decreased dependency on social services, and brain drain and talent loss. When we don't empower our people, definitely the economic consequences is enormous. I cannot overemphasize it. And there is also something that I figured out. We were on a training out of the country, and some of the countries that we even think are doing better than us are already suffering. Like United States, China, these people are going to have, in the next 10 years, massive shortage of skilled people. And this is how I advise our people, most people who do Japan, you will run out of the country because you are going for greener pasture, but you don't know anything on how to do. You end up going to wash plates in the streets of London or do certain things like that. But if you are a plumber, if you're a carpenter, if you're a trained mechanic, it's easier for you to integrate into that country that you're going to. I have seen people who travel abroad and they're asking us to send them money because they have nothing to do. They lack no skill, they are not tech savvy, they have no handwork, and you go abroad, you think tomorrow you are going to be better than all the young guys. It's not going to be possible. If you don't train yourself now, even if you go to America, it is never going to be better. You will go there, and that's when people go, they don't come back for 20 years. Health and well-being. When we empower our youths, I have said it, issue of drug abuse will reduce. For instance, I have business in 9 Mile, and I took special interest on working with NDLA to reduce issue of drug abuse. If you know the volume of drugs that pass through 9 Mile now, it will marvel you. And some of the reason is that some of the youths doing these drugs have nothing doing. So it's a gap. If we plug that gap and train more people, you will not have that level of people using illicit drugs. Another one is high rate of teen pregnancy and sexually transmitted diseases. We can also know some of our youths who are doing well in either making of hair, wigs. The last time we went to the SME clinic, we saw very young girls who have, some are producing tiger nuts, some are producing bags, shoes. Those ones are not ready to do sex work. It is when you are completely out of zero, you don't have anything, then that's when we have teens who do trade for sex for money. And it's something that youth empowerment can stop. Then it is some of the, well, we reduce life expectancy and quality of life. Of course, if you are good, if you have something doing, you will be able to not have some of the mental drain, and you have a good health. Then education and skills. Reduce education and educational attainment and skill. Limited access to quality education, increase dropout, environment for workforce, and so on. Then civic engagement and participation. We have reduced community involvement and volunteerism. Low, that's a mistake here, low voter turnout and civic participation, leadership and disconnection from the democratic process. Then we have the poverty cycle will, and it is even worse when we have generational gap in terms of skills. When you have generational, and that generational gap, we almost met it, because if you look for skilled people now who are doing messing work, you go to Togo, you go get people who are going to lay proper block for you. People who do POP now come from Togo and some of these places. It's not a shame. And we have people who also are sitting around who cannot do the work and who are unemployed here. But we get people from outside, within our West African countries, to come and do some of the works that we do here. The reason is because the gap is widening, and if it's not arrested today and it becomes, it perpetuates into another cycle, we will get to a point where we'll have a lot of crisis. We have a reduced economic opportunity competitiveness, decrease social mobility and opportunity. Then let us look at stakeholders. The stakeholders here, who are actually the stakeholders who can actually help us to drive youth empowerment. Government comes first because we have over-dependency on government. That is why we keep putting government at top. We have over-dependency, which by the grace of God it will reduce. Civil society organizations, private sector, educational institutions, community leaders and organizations. I have not seen this happening here often, where community comes and say, look, let us train our people. It doesn't happen often here, but it's something that we also have to encourage, that community can also say, look, in our place, let us do our own part. See if we can reduce the rate of unemployment or reduce the volume or the number of people who lacks training in our community. Then let us look at implementation strategies we can implement to get this sorted. One is policy reform and legislation, public-private partnership, community-based initiatives, which I have just said now, youth-led youth organizations and advocacy, research data-driven decision-making processes, taking ownership and encouraging young leaders. The importance
Hello, can you hear me?
Self-initiative and entrepreneurship are crucial for the following. One is personal growth. If people are empowered, developing problem-solving skills, building confidence, enhancing creativity and innovation, fostering reliance and adaptability. It creates economic empowerment, social impact, and some of the key characteristics is proactivity, risk-taking, resourcefulness, adaptability, passion, and innovation. We'll go to the next one. These are the benefits of entrepreneurship, and we have real-world examples of entrepreneurs who move forward. Then key takeaways. The case for self-initiative and personal economic growth. Developing entrepreneurship skills enhances creativity and innovation. Of course, sure, if we empower our people, we will develop more entrepreneurs. And when we develop more entrepreneurs, we overcome challenges of mentorship because they become even mentors on their own. When you have more people that are developed, train the trainer. As you are increasing the people that have been empowered, they will also help to empower other people. Empowering youth entrepreneurship fosters a brighter future, and a brighter future is for the benefit of the common man and everybody. Overcoming obstacles and staying focused.
Summit, and today it's basically going to be centering around youth empowerment. Incidentally, right now behind me we can already see the senator representing Enugu West, Senator Ugu, right here also taking his time to share with everybody what and how youth empowerment and entrepreneurship could help the society. And this is day 2 at the moment, and we're hoping that as the days go by, we'll get to learn a few more things with reference to business empowerment, youth involvement, and being, of course, the catalyst to providing solutions to the issues bedeviling society and the economy of Nigeria at large. So without further ado, my name is Ubon Kings. Let's get back into this session right now.
Strategies to overcome them. One, the ones that we can achieve easily is to break down big. Some of them, this fear of, you give them 6 months that you have to achieve this in 6 months. When they have that 6 months, it becomes a major thing that it puts fear in them. But you can break it down that, okay, this is your goal in 1 month. You will be looking up to that 1 month goal. After achieving that 1 month goal, you break down the second goal, the third goal, until they come out to get it. Create a schedule and stick to it. These are just generic means that everybody will understand can help us to overcome some of the obstacles that we have. Because the obstacles in youth empowerment doesn't just come from providing funding, it's also in the people who you want to empower. Sometimes the willingness to take up the initiative becomes a very big program. Then some of the learn from failures and setback. Staying focused. We set clear measuring goals. Prioritize tasks and using. These are all generic. These are just a lecture that we can. So let's go to the next slide. Example of impactful young business leaders. We can understand, even though we put more of Ndocha, but we also know that there are young leaders here that we can take a clue from and know that you have to grow sometimes when you look up to all the people, but you have to have that mindset that you need to develop yourself to be able to get to that point. Take home is here. Young leaders, I urge you to take ownership of your dreams. Don't wait for the opportunities to come to you. Create your own. Be bold, be innovative, and be fearless. As I've always said, youth development is one of the key priorities of our government. We must work together to build a brighter future for ourselves and for the generations to come. Next slide. Here are some, these are also some successful executives and what they're able to achieve. So we'll still share, we'll be able to circulate this slide so that young people can have a look at it and it will make more sense to you. Case study of Enugu West. In our senatorial zone, we've implemented several initiatives to empower the young ones. Our skill training program equipped hundreds of people with skills that they need to be employed. We established mentorship programs. Currently, we set up about 12 centers because there's something I'm passionate about people going to school. But one of the challenges that we have about people going to school is sometimes also they don't have the right teachers who will be able to get them to that point where they were able to go to school. We tried one thing. 2002 JAM, we bought forms for some people to train them. We didn't give them lectures, we just bought forms. About 70% of the people who bought JAM forms failed. Then what did we do further? We tried as much as possible in 2003. We now provide training center where we take them for CBT tests. Because one thing we figured out that some people go to write JAM and they don't even know how to use a computer. They don't know how to drag their mouse. So it's not like they are not smart, but they don't have that experience to do computer-based tests. So when we moved on to that point, every 2 weeks we take these children to IMT to do a CBT test. When the results came out, 80% of them passed. So that initiative showed me that sometimes they don't lack the intelligence, but they don't have the opportunity to be able to grow. Because of that now, we have set up about 12 to 15 centers across the 5 local governments in Enugu West, where we will do daily training. So each local government will have a day we take them to do a CBT test. I am sure with the rate we are going, by the time they write JAM next year, more than 70% of children in Enugu West will pass their JAM with flying colors. And that was it was the last time we encouraged them, we promised them scholarship. Prof, you were there when we spent 81 million naira giving scholarship to the ones who scored above 300. I was amazed. I was even wondering whether my money will be able to pay what I have promised. Because we said if you score 300 and above, you have full scholarship, which means 1 million naira a year until you graduate. Now, too many of them now scored more than 300. And I am not also going to stop it. I'll challenge myself to look for the resources, and I challenge them to pass the exam, and God willing, we will be able to fulfill it. In other areas, we're also starting trainings. We have coming up. I'm not a fan of this fish farming without fish. Training people to do palm kernel something without palm kernel. Planting of palm tree without palm tree. It doesn't work. Who is deceiving who? So we have to start from where our people, when you empower them, you have really empowered them. That is why we are coming up now. There's a training we are going to do for 100 of our people on cyber security. Cyber security, you don't need fish and coconut. What you need is a computer and a certificate. So we're going to train them and certify them, and also help them to push their certificate to banks. To look, this is an organization that is reputable in training young ones for cyber security. And we have produced 100 graduates. These are their certificates. So this is actually the kind of empowerment that you give to people, and they will take advantage of it. Not the one you give and the person goes, the knowledge will be drained. Then call for action. The need for collective action to create brighter future. Collective action is crucial for creating a brighter future for the youth. Why collective action matters? It amplifies individual efforts, fosters community engagement and social cohesion, promotes shared responsibility and accountability. It encourages diverse perspective and innovative solutions, accelerates systemic change and policy reforms. These are things that when we share this slide, people can take it. It's not something we need to dwell on. Then key principles of collective action: inclusiveness and diverse participation, shared goals and vision, collaborative leadership, and all that. We can go to the next slide. Go ahead. These are strategies for collective action. We build coalition and partnership, organize community events and campaigns, engage in policy advocacy and activism, leverage on social media and digital platforms. Social media and digital platforms. Sometimes when I speak, I don't want to condemn certain things that our youth do. But the truth is, social media, being on your phone, can actually empower you to go to greater heights. I have seen people make a whole lot of money from social media, not posting irrelevant things on TikTok. Even TikTok can make you rich. But it depends on the choice you make. If you make a choice of just to be looking at funny video, then you can spend 5 hours on social media and achieving zero. But there are people who spend 2 hours and they have money. It depends on your choice. Whatever you choose depends on you. It will foster education and training program. This call to action, we have to identify areas of collective action in our communities. We are also doing that. We are looking at gaps. One of the meetings I had this morning in my house before coming out is to identify gaps in agriculture, where we can collaborate with what the effort of the government, state government is doing to put our people into training. We had, in the last few months, sent some people to Songhai in Imo State to learn certain forms of agriculture. And what is remaining now, we can't bring them home without giving them resources to do what they have learned. And we intend to take more people, because agriculture, food shortage, Nigeria is almost going to run into food crisis. So it creates a gap. If you that food sector, it's an opportunity to put more youths into agriculture. And they are going to not only provide money for themselves, they provide food for you who has money. Because if there's no food and you have money, you have nothing to buy. So it's a cycle. They produce food, sell it, make money to be able to solve other things. We have to engage with local organizations and initiatives, build relationship with diverse stakeholders, develop a shared vision and strategy, take action, and mobilize others to join. When you take action, tell your neighbor what you're doing so that everybody can join for us to be able to move forward. Encouragement to collaborate and support youth empowerment initiatives. Why do we have to collaborate? These are the reasons why. It amplifies impact, combine resources, and emphasize to achieve greater results. Collaboration between the government and the private sector has always worked. It means nobody is carrying it alone. So this is the reason why we have to collaborate. And there are different ways to collaborate. I won't have to waste your time there. Thank you very much. We have questions and answers. We can go to the key takeaway from this speech is on the next slide. And I would like every youth here, if you have a pen, if you check my Facebook page, I have this on my Facebook page. While I was, for my 15 years of working in the oil and gas company, any office I am, I put this thing on my wall. I have even in my office in the Senate, this thing is pasted whenever I sit in my office, I see this. There's nothing anyone can do to prevent you from reaching your potential. The challenge is for you to identify your dream, develop the skill to get there, and exhibit the character and leadership. Then you need to have the courage to periodically assess, make adjustments, and pursue a course that reflects who you truly are. Almost every day I look at this, because if you don't look at it, you may derail. You must definitely understand that nobody can prevent you from reaching your potential. But you must identify your dream. Not just dream it, develop skill. If your dream is to be a pilot, you cannot fly a plane if you don't go to school to know how to fly a plane. You must develop, if your dream is to play football, if you don't go to training, you cannot play football. Then you must exhibit the character and leadership. Not just to do that, you must exhibit that character. Then you must also have a courage to reassess yourself. Know whether you are making progress. If you are not, you make adjustments and pursue a course that reflects who you truly are. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
You can do better than that. It's been an amazing time here. Ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished invited guests, you can agree with me, it's not a time wasted to be in the AMS 3.0 summit. Oboja, thank you. Yeah, that is his own skill.
Oboja, Jimwa, and you seen I wasn't.
Upper skill, yeah. My distinguished senator. Sir, you know you don't know I work with him. Is one of his aides on unknown matters. SSA to him on unknown matters. The team himself did not know that I'm working for him.
Okay, you don't know I work for him too.
With what he's saying, you know.
I am his SSA on microphone matters.
2018, when we're doing the normal kind of shows we do in Enugu, we decided to, take our industry to another level. And in 2018, I brought some top Nigerian comedians, the likes of AY. And for me, it's part of that history because he supported us so much. And today from Enugu, Francis the Funny Man, we're extending it to UK, US, Lagos, Abuja. People should clap now. Yes.
So everywhere that has a U.
Yeah.
Like USA.
My senator, I'm coming, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, very distinguished Senator O.C. Ngo. We thank you so much. He's a youth, not just a politician, but a seasoned and astute businessman with track record of success and a lot to show for it. We know he's an industrialist also, so he didn't just come to give us a note or lecture. He came to give us from the very reservoir of what he carries and what has made him thick. Thank you, very distinguished Senator. I said earlier that the word distinguished senator began to make more meaning to me. Immediately you took office and employed 100 people to work for you from the street. Thank you very much. We are still going forward with the program for today, but before that, let me recognize the presence of Venerable Professor Chinedu Nebo CON, former Minister for Power, a former Vice Chancellor, University of Nigeria. When we see men like this, we are inspired for greater heights and to take all we can just because we are well tutored and schooled. Thank you, sir, for being who you are and for what you do. At this point, we're going to the next item on the bill, which is going to be the panel session. And I bet you this is going to be very, very inspiring, impacting, and fulfilling. Why do I say so? We have panelists in persons of people like Honorable Pharmacist Chika Ogwoke, the Commissioner for Labor and Employment. We also have Honorable Lloyd Ikechukwu Ekweremadu, Commissioner for Youth and Sports. We have finally on that panel, Honorable Chilo Afia, SA, MSME, and Digital Economy to His Excellency, the Governor of Enugu State, and of course, the DG of SME Center, Enugu. To anchor this very panel, we have youthful and useful Dr. Roque Ogbimi. So you prepare yourself for this very impactful panel session that's going to happen now. But before then, we're going to have a break so that we'll get all our acts together. And maybe you could also ask questions, the person around you, how impacted he has been this morning. Maybe some people are already dazed with the keynote speech. I mean, that's they don't want to hear any other thing. You know how it is when you're going for an exam, and then you read and read and read, and then somebody wants to talk to you. Hello, how now?
Yeah.
You turn deaf and what? Dumb. Because you're scared that when you speak, the things you read will vanish from your head. So I think that's what's happening to a lot of people here, that people are so calm because of what they were able to hear this morning. And of course, key of them is the opportunities that are available. As in terms of trainings, in terms of grants, and all that. And then people from this side of the country don't access it. Why? Opening our eyes and opening our minds to greatness and things that we can that are available for us. We also want to thank the convener of this great summit, the Amadeo Business Summit, in the person of Reverend Dr. Ugochime and his wife, Evangelist Chinelo Chime, and of course the whole Amadeo team. God bless you real good. You know, something I caught away yesterday while the panel session was on. Mrs. Afia Business said something. Now, one of the reasons why she makes it so well is that she gives back to the society where she's making her money from. She gives back in mentoring. She gives back in gifts. She supports younger businesses and small businesses that are in her trade, trying to learn. But you notice in the environment where we are a lot of people who want to shade what they do so that people don't copy. But it only takes the room to be brighter when one candle lights another candle. And it does not diminish the shine of the first candle. So I want to say thank you, sir, for the Amadeo initiative and also for the enormous resources that you push into this year in, year out. This is running for the third time. 3.0. Please, can we stand up and put our hands together for this team? No, just say it like, just do it like you mean it.
And sir,
thank you very much. Thank you. You just may be seated. And so we're going to get down to the panel session where we will have the likes.
Okay, sir, you know, I don't know if some people are like me here. If I say this now, it will be as if I was not a serious student in school. By the way, I don't stay under long lecture. So I graduated with 2-1. I tried, in biochemistry, when Daddy was the vice. So some people here can be under ESUT, yes.
Biocomedy.
Yes, if I give my story now, Professor, call back my certificate. We're writing one GS course that year. You know, every year one student that are confused. So you know, when you're writing exam and you're sitting beside somebody who is wearing eyeglass, you know those glasses that have rope. You know,
okay, the bottle looks like the bottom of a Coca-Cola bottle.
So when she sat near me, I said, why will I write what I read in the night? I already have a transformer. It was when she spoke one English. What is? Why do you copyate me? Women and somebody.
Man, copied, yeah?
No, I didn't. I started looking for eraser. So
you know, I saw a skit. Was it a skit or was it real? I can't just say. But I saw some people were in exam class. And then the one in front, you know, was writing and writing. Then the other one was dubbing. Seriously. Right, look, and we'll be dubbing. And then the guy will say, no. He will not cancel it. The guy behind will look at him and say, he will cancel his own. He will write again and write. And that was like, okay, maybe half a page. Then he will cancel again. And the guy said, he will cancel his own. Then he tried it the next time and cancel. And the guy gave him a dirty slap. But why are you wasting time? Why don't you write this thing once and for all? Why are you canceling?
So we're going into the next section, and so I think we need to stand up and do little exercise, right? So just stretch yourself before we go into the panel section. Can we stand up and do little?
Let's see. Don't show yourself.
No, not for me.
You know, I warned you before. You did not go to a nursery school. So you want to now think that you thought you have learned that thing your child was saying yesterday from school. You come here and embarrass yourself. You thought you learned it, Abi. My head, my shoulder, you want to say it. They know you went to a primary school.
All right, very well. We are here. We're still following through with the event, and interestingly, right now we're taking a short break, a short time out, because we are about to move into the next session, which is a panel session that is about to commence right now. We're going to have a number of persons who are going to be sitting right there on stage, sharing some things and their thoughts about certain topical issues, and then the people in the audience will be expected to ask questions to get clarity, get understanding. But for the time being, MC Franchise is on stage and taking his time to, of course, treat the people to crack them up a little bit, because they say all work no play makes Jack a dull boy. My name is Upong Kings. We'll keep you updated as it unfolds. Please stay.
As I grow, she leaves another one.
And then the waist will be oversized.
I went to a school where they taught us English with Igbo. And now we're doing what? Things are changed. Those I go to ShopRite, I see children, they are shouting on their parents. Dad, I don't have appetite. I've lost my appetite. In my house, you lose your appetite. There are 9 people waiting for you to lose your appetite. See children now, and all these mothers. Most of the time I tell my wife, I don't like the way you're treating you're not disciplining these children. Junior, go to the naughty corner. My mom will flog you while we're doing morning devotion. Please, let's do as if we're doing morning devotion. Yeah? Good morning, Jesus. Sing with me, good morning. Take glory, Father. Take glory, Son. Let's exercise. Take glory, Holy God. Morning devotion. Internal. My mom will internal. I want to live eternal life. Then if my sister is sleeping, she will enter into bathroom. I want to live eternal life, God. Like I always say that, you know, people that are married now, we go through a lot of challenges. You know, you marry, you look for nannies. Our mothers did not suffer. They will get married, they will send house helps from the villages. Very loyal ladies. They will stay in our home 20 years. But now, they call them nannies. I changed 6 nannies in 1 month. My first nanny, any time I come home, she'll speak one English. Welcome, daddies. I say, this one is calling me daddies. You are speaking this wrong English in my front. What will happen when you are with my children? I told my wife that I don't need this one. I need to bring another one. We brought another one, very hard working. My wife gave her an instruction. I said, anything I buy from the market, put it in the fridge. That day, you know, women now, my wife went to the market, bought so many things. Even me, I said, let me go and buy foil and come and watch ball. By the time I went to my kitchen and opened my fridge, if you see the things I saw in my fridge, I saw detergent, I saw my wife's weave on. Even the foil that I bought, I saw it in the fridge. I said, no, this one need to do what? Go. We brought another one, very hard working. But I didn't know I was living with she was having some scoy. She will clean my house, clean my neighbor's house, sweep our streets. 3 o'clock in the morning, she will knock on the door. Bye. My wife will ask, who are you? Auntie, I'm the one. Have you cleaned the room? Yes, ma. Have you cleaned the parlor? Yes, ma. What is the meaning? Just to bath you and Oga? When I heard that my nanny want to bait me and my wife, I said, no, this one need to do what? I brought another nanny. 12 years old nanny. That one was drinking my son's milk. I was giving my son a bath for 3 months. Finally, I told my wife that we need a mature nanny. Somebody say mature nanny. I went and brought a 65-year-old mama. I became an errand boy in my house. My nanny will call me, you got him Joy. One day I came home, I saw my wife washing plates in the kitchen. I said, what happened? She said, Mama said anybody that eats in this house must wash plate. One day, Mama called me and my wife for a meeting. That please, she does not want to see anybody in the parlor on Sunday. Now in the meeting, her in Chikoka, local government women, Enugu branch, will be having a round of applause, yes, ladies and gentlemen.
So let's put your hands together for MC Franchise. Now let's get to the panel proper. Like we said before, let's call the names of the panelists, starting with Honorable Pharmacist Chika Ogwoke, Commissioner for Labor and Employment. And we say, please put your hands together. Sir, please come up. We have Honorable Lloyd Ikechukwu Ekweremadu, Commissioner for Youth and Sports Development. A rousing welcome, please. No, it's not you. I can't hear you. Please, can you put your hands together? And finally, we have Honorable Chilo Afia, SA, MSME, and Digital Economy to the Executive Governor. And of course, the DGSME Center Enugu. Please put your hands together for him. This panel will be coordinated by Dr. Aworoke Ogbimi. Please put your hands together.
All right. A very good morning to everyone who is seated. And please, again, can you help me celebrate my panelists? They look really good this morning. And we're going to have a very engaging session. We are here to really put some life to the discussions and the very deep presentation that was given by the Honorable Senator Osita Ongu. We really did talk about the, empowering the next generation. I think that's something that is so crucial for our youth and the transgenerational movement that must happen within our society. And I have great panelists here. I'm going to be asking them questions, one after the other. What we're trying to do is to see how we can deepen the narrative of youth empowerment, which is the focus of today. So again, I'd say very warm welcome to each and every one of the panelists. I'm going to shoot right into it. I know we have very limited time. We have a very epoch-making event coming up right after this, so we'll shoot straight to each of the issues. I'll start from the one very close to me, the Honorable Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Honorable Lloyd Ekweremadu. Your role as Commissioner for Youth and Sports is very crucial. And, your ministry directly speaks to the youth. And I think we all on the panel session here and as moderator look very youthful. Am I communicating? All right. So your role at Youth and Sports, how would you speak to the strategies, that are being developed or are on ground currently that will engender the integration of the youth, particularly of today, the youth that are highly mobile, that are, part of the Jackpot generation? How would you integrate, how does your ministry integrate these people to still feel like there's something to be done here? There are opportunities for them, especially in the aspect of youth and sports. How would you speak to these youths? How does that apply in your ministry?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, once again. So, at the Ministry of Youth and Sports in Enugu State, the first thing, as far as strategy for us when we came in, was policy formulation. So, for the first time in Enugu State, you have an Enugu State youth policy, a policy with the vision and mission of developing our youth and creating opportunities for them and supporting them through that process. So that for us was the first strategy. So of course, in doing so, you must be aligned with the process at the national level. So of course, you do have a national youth policy. So, but then the youth policy at the time expired last year. And we're yet to have a new national policy. But that didn't stop us. So we took it up from there and we proceeded. And today we have a working document in the form of a draft policy that we're using to carry out our activities pending when the national one comes, and then we can align it. So, but moving forward from that and to speak to what that policy encompasses and the direction that we're going towards, it's a case of working together. In the government of Dr. Peter Ndubuisimba, one thing that is always encouraged is that we do not work in silos. We must work together. So the policy for youth in Enugu State is cross-cutting. So mine is perhaps to follow up with my colleagues and other members of government to see that on their end they are implementing. But every part of it, in terms of labor, SME, whatever it is, the programs and projects carried out are youth-facing, they're youth-oriented, and the idea is to make opportunities for our youth. So we're doing a lot of things in terms of capacity building, in terms of building capacity in various areas where we feel the youth of Enugu State, well, not feel, that research and experience tells us that the youth of Enugu State will be able to contribute positively to the economy of Enugu State, but also be able to find employment and, of course, be employers themselves. So various, like I said, training programs in areas of ICT, in agriculture, in entrepreneurship, generally speaking. The idea and the target is to build capacity of 40,000 youths in Enugu State in the digital space, because we're trying to revolutionize the digital economy of Enugu State. So in doing all of this, I think the outcome would be that the youth of Enugu State would be integrated into everything that is being done in Enugu State.
Thank you so much. Please put your hands together for him. He started with developing the policy guidelines that would drive the entire process. I want to appreciate you for that. When you were rounding up that, you spoke to the aspect of job creation, and I want to go right straight to my next panelist, pharmacist Chika Ugoke. You're the commissioner in charge of labor and employment. But I'm going to speak to you a bit more personally as, first of all, a pharmacist who has transited to become an entrepreneur, who has transited to taking that from both the Nigerian space and gone into the UK space, and you've built significant portfolios over these spaces. How do you see, now you're in government, how do you see first of all, your pharmaceutical industry in this aspect of job creation? What are the things that are being done? What are the things that we can look forward to, probably in the near, intermediate, or remote future, as to the areas in which we can promote and bolster job creation within the state?
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I guess the question you just threw to me would require that I respond in two capacities. One, as a businessman, as a pharmacist, and then secondly, as a public servant. So let me start from the perspective of government. The pharmaceutical sector generally is a sector that any government in the whole world that wants to grow cannot ignore. It is a sector that government needs to be quite intentional about utilizing as an instrument of economic development. If you look at countries like China, if you look at countries like India, Korea, these are countries that have intentionally developed the pharmaceutical sector with the aim of growing their economy. And you cannot talk about growing an economy without talking about job creation. So in Nigeria, of course, amongst many of our myriads of problems, this is one of them, that we are ignoring this sector of high utility and not harnessing it as part of the instruments of economic development and job creation. Now, in our state, let me zone it down to Enugu State. Being opportune to be in the Executive Council as a commissioner, I have worked very closely with the governor to see how we can utilize this opportunity to contribute to the projection of GDP growth from 3.3 billion to from 4.4 billion to 30 billion. And what we are doing is working very closely with the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. There is currently a presidential reform of the pharmacy sector that before now our state in particular was completely oblivious of. And the governor has proactively been engaging the council where we are trying to increase the capacity of the state to become a hub for the pharmaceutical industry. Now, the pharmaceutical industry is vast in its ability to create jobs. It has a core that provides direct jobs for professionals, and then it has the ancillary elements to it that can provide jobs directly and indirectly.
You're currently watching the Amadeo Business Summit 3.0 happening live at the Amadeo Event Center in Enugu State. The summit returns immediately after the news. Now, on the news today, Enugu State government collaborates with NPF to revamp police training institutions in the state. In Abuja, the seat of power of the federal government of Nigeria to achieve full digitalization. On the business news, Nigeria to receive $1.5 million from Luminate to enhance its AI capabilities. And on the foreign scene, Japan's Prime Minister Ishiba says the government will aim to compile a supplementary budget. Many thanks for joining me on the news today. I am Marvelous Apwamaga. Details of this and more coming ahead on the news. To stay with us. We'll begin the news in Enugu, where the Nigerian Police Trust Fund, in a visit to the government house, has applauded Governor Peter Mba on security infrastructure and networking in the state. Proposes a collaboration to